is just so much to unpack here. Like, the most iconic Disney role ever. I feel like you should So I know that we all want to talk about this Snow White, but I know that there is also another Snow White that I think you guys want me to talk about.
It all started with a flicker of doubt, and before anyone knew it, Disney's much-hyped reboot of Snow White had become the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons. Rumors were buzzing, whispers of the film being pulled from theaters faster than a wicked stepmother's spell taking hold. And when that news broke, it felt surreal. How could this have happened? Disney, the legendary entertainment empire, pulling the plug on a project that was supposed to bring Snow White into the modern era? That was no ordinary move. It was a clear sign that something had gone terribly wrong. The release of Snow White had been highly anticipated, especially since Disney had cast Rachel Zegler, a rising star with the right mix of talent, beauty, and a fresh take on the iconic character. But what started as a celebration soon spiraled into a disaster. People, from fans to critics, flocked online in disbelief. What had gone wrong? Was the film really as bad as it seemed? How could this be happening to a Disney movie of all things? And in the midst of all this chaos, Brett Cooper, a commentator with a knack for turning controversies into spectacles, stepped into the fray. She didn't just stand back and watch. It was like she was pouring gasoline on the fire. As the drama unfolded, Cooper's sharp commentary turned Zegler's every move into fodder for her audience. What was already a heated online debate exploded into a full-blown media frenzy. From the very start, things had been off. The film's first week box office.
You don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak.
Office numbers were nothing short of disastrous. Theaters, seeing the lackluster ticket sales, reportedly began pulling the film from screens almost immediately. It was like watching a sinking ship, and the water was rising fast. But the story didn't end with empty seats. As the reviews poured in, they were overwhelmingly negative, painting a picture of a film that had missed the mark in every way. Fans who had waited for the Snow White had been left disappointed. But the real questions lingered. Why did this happen? Was the film's failure tied to Disney's ever-growing reputation for woke messaging? Had Snow White become yet another example of a Hollywood remake trying too hard to modernize and losing its heart in the process? Or was the film simply a victim of bad execution and an audience that was no longer interested in reboots of beloved classics? It wasn't just the film's performance that raised eyebrows. Behind the scenes, rumors about Rachel Zegler's behavior were starting to surface. The actress, who had once been the face of Disney's new vision, was now under fire. Her outspoken views, which had already sparked controversy before the film even hit theaters, were coming back to haunt her. Critics pointed to her comments about Snow White being outdated, calling the classic tale cringe, and saying it needed an update. Those words struck a chord with Disney's longtime fans, who had cherished the original for decades. Zegler's remarks about Snow White not needing a prince.
Rachel Zegler, her comments first exploded on the scene about Snow White back at the Disney D23 Expo.
About her character not dreaming of true love, but of leadership instead, didn't sit well with many. It was as if she had taken a beloved fairy tale and told its most devoted fans, "This isn't for you anymore." The backlash was swift. Fans who grew up with the classic film found themselves at odds with the new vision that Zegler was championing. But was it the comments that truly destroyed the film, or was there something more? Enter Brett Cooper. The moment Zegler's controversial comments started to gain traction, Cooper seized the opportunity to tear into the actress. Cooper, known for her biting commentary, didn't hold back. She mocked Zegler's attempts to modernize the fairy tale, calling her comments arrogant and disrespectful to the legacy of Snow White. The online circus that followed was nothing short of a media spectacle. Brett Cooper didn't just criticize Zegler, she made it her mission to turn the actress into a punchline, publicly ridiculing her every attempt to justify the film's new direction. And just when you thought the drama might die down, new rumors emerged, making things even messier. Insiders began to whisper about Zegler's behind-the-scenes behavior. Word on the street was that when the disastrous ticket sales were reported, Zegler allegedly went on a rampage. She reportedly lashed out at Disney executives, demanding to know who was responsible for the film's marketing strategy. Some rumors even suggested that she blamed her co-stars for overshadowing her, leading to more tension on set. Leaks about Zegler's furious phone calls and messages flooded the internet, painting a picture of an actress in crisis, trying desperately to save her career. But it didn't end there. As Disney scrambled to manage the fallout, the real shocker came. Snow White was pulled from theaters in record time. It was like the film had never existed. Rumors swirled that Disney executives, realizing they had a full-blown disaster on their hands, made the drastic decision to pull the plug before the film's failure could become public knowledge. But Disney didn't officially admit to pulling the film, oh no. Instead, they allowed the narrative to be shaped by speculation, with some claiming that theaters themselves had made the decision to yank the film. It was a perfect storm of confusion, and skeptics weren't buying it. In the midst of this, Brett Cooper pounced on the situation. She spun the narrative like a master storyteller, pointing fingers at Zegler and Disney alike. Cooper gleefully mocked Disney's apparent failure to manage its own release, calling out the studio for trying to cover up what was quickly becoming one of the biggest flops of the year. It wasn't just about the film anymore. It was a battle for control over the story itself. And for Cooper, it was a golden opportunity to take down both the film and its star, painting Zegler as the face of everything wrong with modern Hollywood. As the controversy raged on, social media exploded. Memes, posts, and videos about the Snow White disaster flooded the internet. People weighed in with their own takes on what had gone wrong. Was this just a case of a bad movie? Or was there more to the story? Did Zegler's outspoken views and criticism of the original Snow White contribute to the film's collapse? Or had Disney simply failed to capture the magic of the original in a way that resonated with modern audiences? In the end, it was a brutal spectacle of public shaming. Brett Cooper's relentless mockery of Zegler, combined with the film's disastrous performance, had created a perfect storm of backlash. Fans rallied behind Cooper's criticisms, calling it karma for Zegler's disrespectful comments about the original Snow White. Others, however, felt that Cooper's approach was too harsh, mean-spirited even. It was clear that, in this digital age, opinions were divided, and the battle lines were firmly drawn. But here's the thing. No matter how you slice it, the collapse of Snow White is a lesson in the fragility of beloved stories. Disney, once the undisputed master of fairy tales, found itself in unfamiliar territory. By trying to modernize a classic, it had alienated the very audience that had supported it for decades. And Rachel Zegler, who had the opportunity to become the face of a new era for Disney, had inadvertently turned herself into a symbol of the backlash that came from disrespecting the classics. It's a story of ambition, failure, and the unforgiving nature of public opinion. Whether you view Zegler as a well-intentioned visionary or a misguided starlet, one thing is certain: her downfall is a cautionary tale. In Hollywood, as in fairy tales, the bigger the ego, the harder the fall. And when you mess with the classics, you might just find that the story has a way of turning on you. Now, as the dust settles, the question remains, will Rachel Zegler's career recover from this debacle? Or will she be forever known as the actress who tried to reinvent a classic and pay the price? Only time will tell. But for now, we're left watching the fallout, wondering if the final chapter of this tale is yet to be written. One thing's for sure, if Rachel Zegler thought she could talk her way out of this mess, Brett Cooper's relentless mockery has made that infinitely harder. And so, the Snow White saga continues, leaving us all to wonder how the princess, the prince, and the wicked stepmother might have fared in a world where legacies are tested, reputations are made and broken, and every word spoken carries the weight of 1,000 opinions.